because this practice of sharing, your thoughts and feelings is really beneficial. Um, Oftentimes, I feel like a lot of people are afraid to share their thoughts or ideas about something or their feelings towards another person or just how they're feeling, as an individual in general, in that moment in time or over the past week or few months. Can be really tough because doing that opens you up to be vulnerable with yourself and others, which is kind of a scary thing, especially as a man. You're told not to share how you feel. um, with other people, And I think there is a certain degree where you don't want to be sharing that with everybody. But, with people that you are comfortable with and I think it's important to share how you're feeling and your emotions and your thoughts and ideas about things, because otherwise it just kind of bottles up inside of you and kind of creates this anxious energy, anxiety, because you aren't allowing it to move through you and process it. And it can be a lot easier to process things if you communicate it with another person, because it allows you to kind of bounce, your thoughts and feelings off another person to get feedback, or just to have someone like listen is, very helpful. And I think we don't do this because our ego is trying to protect us from a lot of times getting hurt, which is a fear, which derives from fear. Everything normally derives from fear of getting hurt, fear of not being seen, or fear of being seen, fear of being perceived a certain way and judged. And it can be kind of scary to do it. I know I personally have struggled, like in real life, sharing how I feel or sharing my thoughts and ideas in group settings or even with individuals, mostly from, my ego being fearful of what the result may be. And that has led me to be anxious and create anxiety within myself, and makes me overthink, and it doesn't give me any clarity. I just kind of drown in my thoughts and these stories that I'm making up that, aren't even true. I'm just getting in my head because I'm not expressing myself. I think that's one of the reasons why I started making these YouTube videos, is because it's another form for me to express myself and get that energy out, and it kind of creates space for more things to come in. And recently, I feel like this theme has been coming up more and more in my life, of just opening up and expressing myself and like putting myself out of my comfort zone to help me grow as a person, get me out of my head, because I'm definitely the type of person that overthinks and gets in my head a lot about certain things. And yeah, that's created a lot of like anxiety in my past. And I've been realizing when I kind of get out of my head and share how I'm feeling, even if it's not the outcome or answer that I was hoping to hear, at least I have clarity. I know now. Like, I actually know the other person is thinking, they know what I'm thinking, or if it's an idea that I was afraid to share because I didn't want to be too pushy or, upset the other person because it's different than what they want to do, or if, it's for, work or whatever, it's always better received than expected. So I encourage you to share how you're feeling and express yourself. If they keep getting that like ping to like, I gotta say this, or I gotta do this, like it's a sign that you need to do it. And yeah, recently, on like a more personal note of like sharing feelings with another person, I was just in my head of like, do I say something? Do I say something? I don't know. I don't want to make them uncomfortable or awkward because we are kind of traveling together and doing a project. So I didn't want to like ruin that. But so it took me a while to say something. But it just kept coming into my mind, like you just got to say something. And I didn't want to keep wondering, what was going on. So eventually the opportunity presented itself, and it was really hard to do. But once I like got it out, it became easier and easier to like talk about it and express myself. And I think that's how it is. It's like the initial pull to do it feels very hard. Like it's like you're breaking through something, but once you break through, open that door and walk through, it becomes easier and easier to talk about whatever it is you're trying to express. And you feel much better. It's like a weight is lifted off your chest. And you can breathe deeper and start to get that clarity and keep moving, in the direction you want to move. And also can like build a better connection with either like the group of people or individual that you're expressing yourself to. Also, when you're just expressing yourself in this way or journaling or whatever, it allows you to build a like deeper connection with yourself and understand yourself better. And yeah, I feel like I've definitely been understanding myself better doing it. Like realizing how much I overthink and how much I've let that fear of being seen and hurt affect my ability to express myself. But I've just come to the conclusion that I'd rather have the clarity, even if it means there's some pain that comes along with it. It just means, I feel like more alive doing it, So I think that's all I have to say. I'm sure people can relate to this pretty heavily because I think it's something a lot of people go through. So if this is something you're going through, I encourage you to open that door and walk through and express yourself. Take the risk. It's not going to be as scary as you think. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll be back with another one.